I'm going to hold the editor of this paper responsible, or rather, I think I'd tell the publisher to hold him responsible for playing some kind of game. Now, in the story itself, you admit that it was not a suicide bomber, that it was a policeman, okay, because the police issued a statement, the government issued a statement, and debunked reports that the man who was killed in an explosion was a suicide bomber. Rather, they said the victim of the blast was the policeman on duty in the area. Because we don't have the culture of people blowing themselves up in this country, talk less of the East. Right. So why would you now put panic in a boy, a suicide bomber blows self to pieces? I'm very disappointed at the Vanguard in this, and I intend to take it up at the highest level. This is not the kind of journalism that we encourage. It's not just about selling your newspaper. It's about telling, because for people who are front page readers, who just read the headline, and you can imagine, because once you hear that there's a suicide bomber, when I heard on the news this morning at about 5 o'clock, off the cuff, I thought that, oh, could it then be that one of the herdsmen or whatever has gone to blow himself up in the East? All kinds of things within 60 seconds were racing through my mind, whereas in reality, it was a policeman. I don't know what it is that went up. The government says that a security man's grenade accidentally exploded. Now, the little I know about security, the very little that I know, I don't think a policeman would be carrying a grenade. It's very unlikely. Maybe I need to be corrected.
They said a handheld grenade.
But I don't know why a police. I thought that grenade was used by the army, by the military.
They said it was. They said it was on a special operation.
I see. And therefore, he now.
An accident happened.
There you go. He's probably not well trained to handle a grenade, because, to be honest with you, and jokes apart, I thought grenades were used by the military in war situations, really, because what is a grenade? Is a bomb.
Exactly. So
why would a policeman be carrying a bomb?
The spokesman there broke it down and said that, we call it in local parlance tear gas.
Oh, it was a tear gas canister. So why did the government call it a grenade?
That's what the police called it. Then she now broke it down and said in what local people call tear gas.
Tear gas. But a tear gas canister is not a grenade. But having said that, I'm very disappointed that with all this information and the doubts about the story, you will now carry the headline, direct, without any doubt, no question mark, and say panic in Ebonyi, a suicide bomber blows, even though you put suicide bomber in parentheses, blows self to pieces. I think we
were not trained like this. I'm very cautious. I've been quite cautious and exercising some restraint. But I will share your thoughts on this one. The authorities have come out to say this is what happened.
What happened?
Why can't you just put your?
And if you look at it, it's not our culture in this part of the world. People should realize that what caused the Arab Spring. Somebody who set himself on fire.
That's right.
So when you say that somebody blows himself up in the East at a time like this, when the divides are getting wider and wider, I think a lot more restraint should have come in publishing this story with this kind of headline. Okay,
we fell short of expectation. Actually,
you just felt, and this is my baby. I was one of the first 6 that produced this paper. So I'm emotionally attached to it, and I intend them to take it up. And we need, you see, the media has been infiltrated by people with personal agenda. We need to tell ourselves some home truths now. It's been infiltrated, and a lot of journalists, or some of us, are going to put the owners of this business into trouble. So we all need to be on the lookout. There is a hidden agenda behind this story and blowing it up to this level. But I call it sheer irresponsibility. This kind of headline should not have gone.
It shouldn't.
It should not have gone. I said when I heard it this morning,
shouldn't have.
The first thing that occurred to me is that Atigbeo, I thought maybe some
shouldn't have.
herdsmen or whatever it is are going to blow himself up in the east to make a point. I don't think the those who allowed this headline go thought deeply about it. And that is why I'm going to call on our media houses. You might need to infuse some experienced hands in your editorial boards.
That's right.
To guide these younger people. I'm sorry to put it that way, but sometimes we have to be blunt with ourselves. It's not just we've seen in the past. I think last week was it The Nation or so, and the media is very, very important and key. Very important and key, and should be taken with a sense of responsibility. I think newspaper artists should now bring in one or two very experienced and matured hands in their editorial board to help prevent things like this. But let's move on.
Indeed. Even if the Vanguard will disappoint with the authority, at least carve your headline in such a way that it reflects what the authority has said.
Yes.
Then in your story, you can now speak with experts, and experts will now break it down whether.
But there is nothing in the story that talks about somebody setting himself on fire. There is no proof to that effect. And but I don't know about other people. Look, people for South set himself on fire. That day has not come yet. Yoruba man or Igbo man set himself on fire. That day never come. We know. Don't let's go there.
Let's move away from the Vanguard. Let's pick up the Punch. Page 8 of the Punch. AMO sets up 7 ex-officers panel over safety in Air Force.
Well, thank God that he's doing that.
As Chief of Naval Staff.
Chief of Army Staff. Is that Chief of
Naval Staff?
Naval Staff. No, Air Force.
Air Vice Marshal.
Air Vice Marshal, yes. Yeah. Of course, it's related to the accident that took place. But these things are things that should be regular. You should have a body that keeps reviewing your processes, your equipment, and so on and so forth. So it shouldn't be a one-off. That's what it's funny that you'll be talking about things like this in public. That should be a given. It shouldn't be a one-off. You should have had something like this. So if in 2021 you're now setting up a panel for over safety and so on and so forth, hey. Well, we learn every day, don't we?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Now, away from the Punch, let's go pick up the Nation newspaper. This is an interesting story here. Mali's detained president, prime minister, ousted. Nigeria, AU, UN, ECOWAS, others condemn military junta.
No, don't hold your breath. I'm not going to drop a bomb. You can imagine what some people think I'm going to say. Nothing like that. Just to give our people the developments in Mali. In Mali, there's been turmoil, okay, and there have been coups. This is another coup that has taken place. For those who say coups cannot happen in 2021, take note that nothing is impossible anywhere. But a statement issued yesterday by the spokesman for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ferdinand Woye, indicated that the federal government said the action might derail the peace-building efforts and timetable for the return of democratic governance in Mali. The federal government of Nigeria therefore calls for the immediate and unconditional release of the president and prime minister. Key actors of the condemnable act should be aware of the fact that stakeholders in the region and friends of Mali reject any act of coercion of the detained officials, and so on and so forth.
Right.
Now, the crucial question, what has Nigeria learned from this? The federal government, you've seen their reaction. In so doing, what have we learned from this? What are we doing to stop the spread of this kind of thing happening in the west coast of Africa and Africa in general? That's my thought for this morning.
That's a good question.
What have we? The government,
good question.
The people, various agitators, and so on and so forth. What have we learned from what is happening in Mali?
There is something to be learned from it.
There is a lot to be learned from it. There is a lot to be learned from it, Sheriff. Sheriff.
They'll be like my callers.
And if there's an accidental discharge and I have a child now, if male or female, it must be named Sheriff. I've grown to like that. Every morning, everybody says Sheriff.
It's interesting. So this one here,
it's an ad.
Advertorial on page 18. on the Punch newspaper about 2021 State of State address.
Yes, the governor of Lagos and his deputy are inviting everybody, but it's
Right.
by invitation. They're inviting everybody, but it's by invitation. As a glimpse of a greater Lagos. The governor apparently and his deputy, I
Yeah.
think, is part of the 2-year celebration, and I hope it will be broadcast live so that we can follow it, and I hope some home truths. The governor will come out with some home truths about some home truths about how far we have gone and where we are headed. A realistic, not just some rhetoric. I find some of these events sometimes at some point can even get a bit boring. A lot of the talk will be over your head. Let's bring it down to reality. I think that, let's assume that I took the mantle of leadership in this state as at tomorrow. Somebody just says, Jimmy, okay, go on. So what will you do? My first thing to do is to lock down any form of development for 2 years and stabilize. That's the first thing to do, because all the things we do, they keep mounting. Okay? They keep mounting and mounting and mounting. Whereas what we need to do, and in fairness to them, they have, at least where infrastructure comes in, they've done the right thing by continuing what their predecessor did, unlike their predecessor who didn't want to continue what his own predecessor did.
Right.
So I give them kudos for that. But I think that the state needs to stabilize. All the themes, agenda, whatever it is that we have, let us freeze them and let's stabilize. And it will take us 2 years to get there. In the educational sector, in the health is okay. I mean, it's getting better, but the demands for health never stop. So we need to stabilize all these things before we start thinking of a mega city or whatever. What other phrase do we use? So that's what I'm hoping I'm going to hear today. Let us keep our sights in check and in reality, and looking at the funding and whatever the funds that are coming in and so and the expenses and balancing things. Let us have a realistic meeting this afternoon. I look forward to it. I hope I can get it on. I hope I can get it on TV or on Zoom. Is it Zoom or maybe on YouTube or something like that? And so that one will be able to follow it and do a nice analysis of it. I was invited physically, but to leave here now to go to Alausa at 2 o'clock is a bit tough for those of us who have woken up so early to get here.
The Punch, page 22, is here. Untenable turnaround time for passport issuance.
The
That's
issue,
the editorial.
the issue of passports has become a complete embarrassment. I had to read this about 2-3 times. I thought that we had the minister had originally said that you should be able to get a passport in 72 hours. Indeed, you should be able to get a passport, especially renewal, in a day. But this is what the Punch says. The Punch says that the recent declaration by the Federal Ministry of Interior that from 1st of June, the issuance of passports to Nigerians will take 6 weeks is wholly unsettling. Why should passport take 6 weeks in 2021? I don't understand this. And it says that it captures the agony of Nigerians. Repeatedly, public officers ride roughshod on the citizens despite their rights to obtain legal documents, including acquiring a new passport or applying for a renewal. I'd like somebody to tweet or just get in touch with us.
Yeah.
Who went to the passport office not knowing anybody, applied, no Roger, nothing, and got his passport. That person I'd like to put on air to tell us his experience, how that took place. Because I believe, Sheriff,
Yeah.
You did? You did?
Yes.
Where?
Ikeja.
What happened?
I went with my brother. We sat
Who
down.
is your brother?
My brother.
I mean, what does he do?
He's a surveyor.
Okay, so when you got there,
So we got there, we sat down, we put down our name. They have tents. Those the newcomers one side, those that have come to pick one side.
yes.
So when it was time, they called the name. We went in.
When was this?
That was 2 years ago, 3 years
Okay,
ago.
fine.
2 years
No,
ago.
where I'm going is, did anybody know that you were Sheriff
No,
Quadry?
no.
I'll have you on next week.
No.
I'd like to hear your story. Because I believe that, to be honest, I believe that there's a lot of racketeering going on in the passport office. I have always had to use influence to get my passport. Oh yes, I've always had to know somebody, to get my passport. That's that, and I'm surprised. This story you're telling me surprises me. How long did it take?
So they gave us a date to come back. I couldn't go back then because there was a lot of things then.
Yes.
After capturing, they gave us a date to come back. Then I went back. I collected my passport.
You didn't know anybody? You didn't drop anything?
I did not know anybody. I did not drop anything. I only paid the statutory amount to be paid. I can't remember, the amount.
So it took how long?
I can't remember.
Well, a month.
I can't. No, it's more than a month. It was more than a month. It was more than a month.
Was it a renewal or a fresh passport?
A fresh passport.
Okay, it's a story I'd love to hear. But definitely 6 weeks is too long for you. Come on. Unless there's a problem, I don't know why you can't get your passport in 72 hours. Maybe this instruction is at a maximum of 6 weeks, meaning that if there's a problem, if there's a need to identify you properly. But I plan to do this thing some years back, and Philip has not been cooperating. I want to put somebody in that place, let him go and apply without knowing anybody, and he will come back and tell us story. This story that you said, I think you're just trying to bust my bubble. I don't believe you.
Why would I want to do that?
I don't believe
Why would I want to do that?
Is your name Sheriff or Sheriff?
Sheriff.
So I'm the one who is wrong.
It's just like saying, is your name Sherifu? Sheriff. or Rasaki.
No, I'm a Yoruba man, so I must add Yoruba this in join now. Or join. So Sheriff.
All right. Let's take the Nation newspaper. Page 6 of the Nation says, can secession won't solve Nigeria's problems?
Of course. For those who are agitating for Dudua, Biafra, in fact, what is so funny is that the agitators themselves are completely disorganized. Where's the map? What have you put in place? Where's the document? It's not enough to just hit the streets. We must be systematic in our thinking. It's not enough just to hit the streets and shout to Dudua Republic, and I'm going to go and fight this. You must have a template. You must have a document. Can we please see this document? Both the IPOB. One time the IPOB were issuing passports for 10,000. I mean, who does that? In reality, who does that? Let's be systematic and let's be serious. If we know there's nothing wrong with an agitation. There's absolutely nothing. It's your right. But at least be systematic. Let us have something that shows us that you have the mandate of the people to do these things. Then let's see, where's the map? Where are the local governments you want to have? How many states are you going to have in the Dudua Republic? You must come with a prepared document to some of us will not just jump on the bandwagon because you feel that, there's so much suffering and you want to have a Dudua Republic. It doesn't work like that. I'm not going to jump from frying pan to fire. If you watch enough war, if you see battles on the sea and the ship is sinking, sometimes better for you to jump to go with the sinking ship than to jump into the fire that's burning out in the waters. So if you want us to take you seriously, yes, okay, fine, agitation, fair enough. Show us documents, show how prepared you are. The No Dudua Republic, these are the states that we will have. We have the mandate of these people. We've conducted this, conducted that. A lot of the people of these agitators, really and truly, some of the words I used to describe them, I cannot use on radio. But we know ourselves. If you have a personal problem, maybe you don't have a job or you want to go into whatever, don't allude to things that in reality don't exist. If you want to be taken seriously, some of the New Day agitators and top people who quote and unquote, we know where everybody is coming from.
Yeah.
We know when there was when a man like Awolowo stood up and says, and he never ascribed that to himself though, by the way. It was by, everybody believed that Awolowo was a very prepared man. Oh my God. The day they lifted the ban on politics, I was in uni. The day they lifted the ban on politics, when he announced his party, you needed to see how prepared he was. Down to the vehicles, the party song, he had a band, he had well prepared. We expect nothing less from the likes of Professor Banji Akitoye. Not just rhetoric, not just to tell us that because we are suffering, therefore, no. It might not be the solution, and I'm glad that Khan has said as much. Let me read what it says. It says, the Christian Association of Nigeria has cautioned agitators for a separate country that their quest will not solve the problems facing the country. The problems are for us as a people. You just need to listen, wake up early enough, listen to radio between 5 and 7 for you to know the kind of problems that we have. I heard somebody struggling with you this morning on citizens' rights. What is expected of a citizen? He doesn't believe that he has any responsibility as a citizen. How would putting that man in another country solve his problem? It won't. It won't. You know, and it says that the Reverend Ayakule says that breakup was not the best option, but a continuous democratic dialogue. I think that breakup would sink some people further. But if you cross that bridge, it will be difficult for you to come back. Remember that if you break up a country, where you are, if it's not your state of origin, you might have to pack your bag and baggage and get out of that place because it become an IGG. But you won't get that far. It just needs to be a little bit.
Let's squeeze in this one here before we go. Shehu is not serving President Buhari's interest.
No, I don't. I think people are just being polite. There was no way he would have made such a statement without clearing it with the president. Speaking on behalf of the president. But his job is to advise the president. What we have is a reverse. Officials, your job is to advise. You're supposed to advise your principal. And sometimes you should put your foot down. For a man who is exposed to the media, okay, who's been in journalism for only God knows how long, surely he should have looked at that statement again, to say that, we really shouldn't put it this way. I still repeat, it wouldn't have taken anything from the federal government to have said that, well, we've noted what the southern governors have done. We will all sit down together for a better Nigeria, have a dialogue, and come up with something that will be acceptable to everybody. Isn't that how it's as simple as that? But this us versus them and them versus us, like I said, if you listen to radio early in the morning, you will appreciate the kind of problems that we have in this country. This country is now divided, at least in rhetoric. You always find people saying they know what they are doing. Who are they? You jolly well imagine, So, left to me, I think we need to caution ourselves at all levels and on all sides. See, this politicking the kind of politicking that's going on is not going to help anybody. It is not going to help anybody, both collectively and at individual level.
We must go now.
Yeah, we got to go.
Yeah. What's coming up?
Today is Wednesday now.
Okay. Do you have me?
We have Kelvin.
Kelvin is coming in?
Yeah, but I don't know his surname.
Oh, okay. We'll get to find out.
Kelvin is Kelvin.
Kelvin is Kelvin.
Yeah, so it's coming in.
All right, then. See you then at 9 o'clock. Jimi will be here with Daily Digest at 9, Debumi edition. I'm Sheriff. Many thanks to MTN Nigeria for their support on Dailies today. Let's take a break. We'll have the news for you at the top of the hour. When we return from the news, we'll be talking the planned scrapping of the NYSC. We have some facts and figures for you. Stay here.
You know that feeling when you keep downloading and streaming interesting videos, but your mind keeps whispering, "Cut!"
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.